Hello 11th grade and welcome to a new lecture. Today we're going to revise for your semester 1 exam. Of course the materials will be reading comprehension and the writing objectives that we have covered so far. So let's begin. The objectives required for your exam, chapters 1 and 2 in your ebook, comprehension and reading skills ebook. You have that. The first chapter is adolescent issues, which we talked very much about, and then environmental issues, which was our last theme. Now, the skills, the reading skills, of course, the questions I will ask you in the organizational skills part: title significance, the importance of a title to the text, thesis statement, whether it's explicit or implicit, types of introduction, the 5 common types I gave you, patterns of organization, the 7 patterns of organization, all in your ebook, of course, and all in the PowerPoint lectures. Chart analysis, the way you would analyze a given chart or table or bar graph or line graph or pie chart. Thematic relationship between paragraphs. How does the author link the paragraphs together? Is it a cause-effect relationship? Is it a question-answer relationship? Problem-solution relationship, etc. Author's credibility. How does the author gain credibility in a given article? Does he use supporting evidence such as statistics, facts, real-life examples, expert opinion, statements from witnesses? Those are all called supporting evidence in order to achieve credibility and objectivity. Now, the writing part, we took the expository essay only this semester, but we took the different types: problem, solution essay, and the cause-effect essay. So let's begin our quick revision of the materials covered. Now, first of all, the first reading skill you took was titles and subtitles. What is a title? A title is written by authors to identify their work, place it in a certain context, and present a mini summary or a condensed summary of the content in order to pique or arouse the reader's curiosity. How do I ask you such questions? This way. How does the title reflect the main idea of the above text? You would say, for example, if the text is called Litani's Water Pollution, you would say the title Litani's Water Pollution is a condensed or mini summary of the main idea of the text. And you don't stop here. Tell me what it's about, which is further developed and explained in the paragraph, or which is about the amount of pollution or the type of pollution in the Litani waters, and those ideas are fully developed and explained in the body paragraph. So don't stop at saying it's a mini or condensed summary. It's a condensed summary of the main idea of the text, which is about. Now, number 2, do you find the writer of the above article successful in his or her choice of the title? Generally, it's going to be a yes. I would never give you a title or on the official exam a title that is not appropriate or significant. You would say, yes, the author is successful in his or her choice of the title, Litani's Water Pollution, since it reflects the main idea of the text, which is about the water pollution issues of the Litani River. Notice I wrote the main idea. These ideas are fully developed, or if you want, elaborated or explained. Choose the word you want. Fully elaborated or explained in the body paragraphs. That's it. You get a full mark for this. Now, another question I might ask you is subtitles, and we had a lot of that in the last, in our last lesson, which is about deforestation, causes behind deforestation, where they were written by the author as subtitles. Why does the author use subtitles? What purpose do they serve? The subtitles or the subtitle adds more information and facilitates the reader's work and guides the reader to understand the text better by dividing it into subcategories. Remember the causes? We talked about logging, we talked about cattle and ranching, matching, those were all written as subtitles. Why? For the author to organize the text for you so it would be easier for you to read. Okay, so in the text entitled Health Effects of Air Pollution in Beijing, which is the capital of China, the author gives the subtitles Surge in Asthma and Other Allergies, Increase in Rate of Lung Cancer, and Birth Defects for each part of his text. He explained each of those in a different subcategory. Okay, so this is how you would answer a question about subtitles. Moving on, the thesis statement. Is it explicit? Meaning, is it present there? Or is it implicit? The author just implies it and you have to provide it. If it's explicit, I will ask you the question this way. Which sentence reflects the thesis statement? Justify your answer. Or identify the thesis statement in the opening paragraph. Why does the writer place it where it is? Your answer would be like this. The last sentence of the text acts as a thesis statement for the text entitled, please have a full answer, Eating Disorders Among Teens, since it introduces the main idea of the text, which is about the different types of eating disorders that teenagers can suffer from. Such an idea is fully elaborated in the body paragraphs. Obviously, the thesis statement, the ideas we write there, we elaborate them, we explain them, we prove them in the body paragraphs. Okay? Now, when it's implicit, how do I ask you the question? The opening paragraph of the above text does not seem to contain a clear thesis statement. Reread the paragraphs, of course, and skim through the text to supply your own thesis statement. Of course, when the thesis statement is just implied and I want you to write your own, you cannot ever write a thesis statement without skimming the text very carefully in order to come up with the author's main idea. Reading it, you notice that the author writes, let's say he's talking about the effects of smoking among teens, heavy coughing, lower concentration, high allergy numbers. So your thesis statement would be, smoking among teens leads to several dangerous effects, of course not causes, several dangerous effects such as asthma, low concentration, and increased rate of, let's say, allergies, different allergies. This is your thesis statement. How did you find that out? You read the text, you read what each paragraph was talking about. So it's implied here, not directly stated. Skim and supply the appropriate thesis. An appropriate thesis statement would be, this is how you write it, you write your thesis here. This thesis statement reflects the main idea of the whole text, which focuses on, tell me what it focuses on. Such an idea is fully elaborated in the body paragraphs, and that's it. Now, questions related to types of introduction and how they're linked to a conclusion, for example. Now, the following are the most common types, the 5 most common types. Why does the author use them? Obviously, to captivate the reader's attention, to engage the reader, to make them want to read more. The common types: anecdote, which is a brief narration, an interesting story to hook you. Historical introduction, obviously. You would give a certain historical background to, for example, if you're talking about nuclear power plants in the West, you would say that in 1925, the first nuclear power plant was established in the US in the city of, for example. General to specific. When you are writing about pollution, for example, you talk about pollution in general, then you narrow it down to water pollution, and then you talk about the specifics. Interesting facts and statistics, one of the most popular forms of introduction, mainly anecdotes, interesting facts and statistics. You get those a lot, this one even. And then the series of questions, which is probably the easiest one to identify. You just notice that the writer wrote 2 or more questions in order to grab the reader's attention and prepare the reader for answers, to find answers for those questions in the text. How do I ask you the question? What type of introduction does the writer use? How does this type affect the reader? Now, first of all, you tell me the type, you give me the clue, how you found out that this was the type, and then you tell me its purpose. In the text entitled Early Marriage Among Females in Developing Nations, the author begins her article with interesting facts. Okay, where is it? Prove to me that the author began her article with interesting fact, which is that 29% of girls in Bangladesh married before the age of 15 and 65% married before the age of 18. You gave me the fact. Now, why does the author use that? This method serves to capture the reader's attention, arouse their curiosity, and introduce the main idea of the text, which is about early marriage in developing countries. And you have a full mark there. But please do not skip any part of this answer. Again, I would say, what is the function of the first paragraph in the above text? I didn't say what type of introduction. You have to read the question well. I said, what is the function of the first paragraph? You read it, you would generally say the first paragraph of the text entitled Early Marriage Among Females in Developing Countries serves as an introduction to the text. It contains or holds the thesis statement of the text, which is fully elaborated and discussed in the body paragraphs. And that's it. I did not ask you for the type. Okay, I did not ask any such questions. I told you what is the first paragraph, what is its role in the article. You would tell me that it's an introduction, and if it has the thesis statement, you tell me it holds the idea, the main idea of the article, which is about, etc. Now, what purposes? Here I'm just asking, what purpose or purposes does the introductory paragraph serve? Okay, here we usually give three purposes. The introductory paragraphs of the text entitled Early Marriage Among Females in Developing Countries serves to grab the reader's attention by providing shocking facts about the high percentage of early marriage among girls in Bangladesh. This puts the reader in the general atmosphere of the text and arouses their curiosity to read more about the topic. So there you go, three purposes. If I want less than that, I will tell you two purposes. Okay, if I don't specify, you need to provide me with three purposes. Now, so in brief, by using the above mentioned methods of introducing a text, the author gives background information about the topic, arouses the reader's interest, grabs his or her attention, and puts him or her in the general atmosphere of the text, introduces the thesis statement, prepares the reader for a thorough discussion of the ideas raised in the thesis. Those are what you would include in the question related to the purposes. Okay, choose any three of those, the ones that you find mostly appropriate for the article at hand. Now, this is another interesting question you might be asked, especially on an official exam next year. You will be asked, in what way or ways are the introductory and concluding paragraphs of the above text thematically related? Explain. Or what is the thematic relationship between the introduction and the conclusion? What do I have to do here? Step one, I have to read the introduction and then read the conclusion. How are they linked? Did the author just repeat or reiterate the information he provided in the introduction? This is mostly how they are related. So the introductory paragraph introduces the topic and presents the thesis statement, which focuses on, you tell me. The concluding paragraph restates the same idea, gives a final opinion, and leaves the reader with a future expectation. In this sense, the two paragraphs are thematically related. So the author is just repeating the same idea, restating the same main idea he or she introduced in the beginning of the paragraph or in the introduction. Now, what is the importance of the concluding paragraph? I might just ask you this many times. What would you say? Depending on what you read. Okay, this is not a copy-paste answer. Of course, you're going to have to read this as a sample answer. What did the author give you in that paragraph, in that concluding paragraph? A sample answer would be the concluding paragraph restates the same idea introduced in the introductory paragraph and presented by the thesis, which focuses on, you give me that. It also gives a final opinion and leaves the reader with future expectations. Tell me what the author gave in that concluding paragraph. Okay, so you would be using in the contrast words like but, yet, however, nevertheless, though, even though, although, etc. You know those words. They show a contrast or a difference pattern. Cause effect, because, since, as a result, because of that, this led to, therefore, consequently, as a consequence, the outcome of. Listing and classification, when the author both mean the same and you can use any of those words. When the author is listing several concepts or maybe several symptoms or different things. For example, symptoms of COVID-19 include heavy coughing, shortness of breath, and high fever. Listing, okay? And remember that all the items on the list have to be the same part of speech. Either all of them are nouns, or either all of them are verbs, or they are adjectives, or whatever. They can't be a mix of verbs and adjectives, for example, or nouns and verbs. They have to be the same in order to for the pattern to be a classification and listing pattern. Moving on, this is the seventh and last one, 7. Of course, time and chronological order. This is generally used when the author is telling a story. Okay, chronological or chrono means time. Author uses words like first, after that, 3 hours later, 1 month earlier, etc. Clearly, you would say that this pattern is one of time or chronological order. How would I ask you such a question? Just simply this way. What pattern of organization does the writer use in the above paragraph? Explain, of course. Don't just stop at telling me what pattern it is. In the above paragraph, the author uses time order as a pattern of organization. How did you know that? He uses words such as first, then, later that day, and the day after in order to talk about what the scientist did during that time or during his excavation or during his scientific inquiry. Okay, now when we reach credibility and objectivity, I told you guys both words mean the same. We can also say authenticity. Credibility, objectivity, authenticity, accuracy all mean the same, and I might use those words interchangeably when I am referring to the same thing. Credibility, what do we mean by credibility? If you are a credible person, you are a believable person. People trust you, people believe you. Now, if you are an author and you want people to view your article as credible, what do? You can't just write an opinionated article and think that you are credible. You need to provide what? You need to provide supporting evidence in order to achieve credibility and objectivity, authenticity, accuracy. What are those 3 supporting means of support that the author uses? Obviously, facts and statistics, real-life examples, expert opinion, witness testimony, and statements of authority. Let's take the example of COVID. I'm using it a lot because it's really the common thing in our society today. Facts and statistics. For a person, you want to write an article and you want to be really credible, because many people are very skeptical about COVID. Many think that it doesn't even exist. Now, I want to write an article where people would believe me. I would provide facts and statistics. According to the Ministry of Health, on average, 15 people die of COVID-19 every day in Lebanon. What did I give here? Facts and statistics. I give a real life example. I would talk about people, names, give real names, okay, who have suffered from COVID and those who have died. Give names. Now, expert opinion or witness testimony. Expert opinion, you might interview a doctor, a virologist. Witness testimony, you might interview a person who went through COVID, who suffered COVID and had so many harsh symptoms and finally was able to beat it, even though it left its mark on that person. So this is what we mean. We use all those to achieve credibility and objectivity. This is how I would ask the question. How does the writer of the above text achieve objectivity and credibility? Illustrate or give examples. Illustrate. Or what means of support does the writer of the above text use to achieve accuracy and credibility? Again, the word accuracy, they all mean the same. Give examples to illustrate your point of view. Here, I'm going to use the same example of early marriage among girls in developing countries. The writer achieves credibility and objectivity by using proper means of support, such as facts and statistics. You give me the facts and statistics. You don't just tell me facts and statistics. Where she gave us statistics about early marriage among girls in Bangladesh. Write that statistic down here. She also uses a real-life example where she talked about Sila, a girl whose parents married her off when she was only 13 and died later that year due to complications. Alternatively, I would ask you the question this way. The question might be, the writer in the above text relies heavily on statistics and real-life examples. Why does she resort to this technique? A one-sentence answer. The writer uses real-life examples, statistics, and expert opinion in order to achieve credibility, objectivity, and authenticity for the text. Full stop. One sentence. Okay, this is if I ask it in an inverted way. Now, we reach the part about the audience. Audience are the people who are going to read this article. Two types of audience. I would ask you name two types of audience who might be interested in reading the article. Adolescent sleep cycles and school timing. Remember, we took that article. What is their interest? Not only do you have to tell me the type of audience, you need to tell me what their interest is. If you tell me the teenagers, you need to tell me why. Okay, so a sample answer. Parents of teenagers would be interested in reading the above article in order to gain more awareness about their child's sleeping cycles. Moreover, school administrations would be interested in reading this article to plan schedules that would be in accordance with teenagers' educational well-being. Remember, the article talked about how it's better off if schools for teenagers, meaning middle and high school, would start around 9 and not 7:30 or 8, because they at this stage need more sleep. Now, again, I might say, whom do you think the author is addressing in this article? Addressing, I mean, who is he talking to? Identify one major type of reader and specify their interest. Here, I just want one type of reader, and you tell me the interest of that particular reader. Statistical charts and table analysis. It could be, again, a pie chart, a bar graph like the one showed here, a line graph, any kind of chart, okay? A table with numbers in it which you have to interpret and analyze. I gave you the example of preferred social media platforms among US teens in 2018. Remember that? This is a recent and real graph, real bar graph. We notice now YouTube is the most used among teens until 2018, and then followed by Instagram and Snapchat. Now, how do I analyze this? When I ask you to write a chart analysis or write a conclusion, or what do you conclude? You don't just write me what you conclude. Whenever I give you a chart or a table or a pie chart or a bar graph, you have to write your answer in this way. Your answer needs to be written in paragraph form, divided into 3 parts. The topic sentence, which you get directly from here. The chart depicts or shows research results of the preferred social media platforms among US teens in 2018. Now, why did I say respectively here in my conclusion? Because they are written in consecutive order from the highest until I reach the lowest. And you know from math, the word consecutive means after each other. Okay? The conclude at least one main point from what you have analyzed. Of course, we conclude that with these huge percentages, first of all, it means that social media platforms are immensely popular among teens, with YouTube at the top and Reddit at the bottom. Now, the answer needs to be in one single paragraph. You begin with the topic sentence. The chart depicts research results, etc. until 2018. Your analysis with the percentages. Now, when you want to write what you concluded, you need to write, thus we conclude that social media platforms are immensely popular among teens, with YouTube at the top and Reddit at the bottom of the list. And this is your perfect answer. Thematic relationship between paragraphs. Now, when an author wants to write an article, they need to link their ideas in a certain way. Why? Because their ideas need to be coherent, or else the article would be totally boring and not connected at all. How does the author link the ideas he or she presents? One way is idea comparison, meaning comparison. Okay, just like the pattern of organization, not much difference. Idea contrast, meaning in one paragraph here he presents one idea, and in the other he shows a comparison. Here in one paragraph the author gives an idea, and in the latter paragraph he would show the difference. Here, problem solution. In one paragraph the author is giving a problem, in the latter paragraph he is presenting a solution. Addition and reinforcement. Here the author would provide an idea in one paragraph and then supports it or adds more to it in the next paragraph. For example, in paragraph 1 he could be discussing higher rates of obesity among teens in Lebanon, and in paragraph 2 he supports his idea with a research result. This is called addition and reinforcement. I am, as an author, reinforcing or adding more to my idea. Okay, generally with statistics and facts. Okay, the fifth type of thematic relationship would be question-answer. In one paragraph, the author gives you a question. In the latter paragraph, he would give you an answer. Cause-effect relationship, obviously, as the name said, one, you present the cause, and in the latter paragraph, you present the effect. How do I ask you such a question on a test? How are paragraphs 1 and 2 thematically related? Or what thematic link is there between paragraph 1 and 2? Or what is the thematic relationship between paragraph 1 and 2? This is it. Your typical answer would be, in paragraph 1, the author presents the issue of the rise in the rate of obesity among teenagers, and in paragraph 2, he gives the research results, which show that almost 1/3 of teens are either obese or overweight. Therefore, the relationship between the two paragraphs is one of idea, addition, and support. Or you can say addition and support. And that's it. Another type of question concerning thematic relationship. What is the thematic relationship between the introduction and the conclusion? We already talked about that. The following are two possible answers to this type of question. I might say the introductory paragraph introduces the topic and presents the thesis statement which focuses on, give me the main idea. The concluding paragraph restates the same idea, gives a final opinion, and leaves the reader with future expectation. In this sense, the two paragraphs are thematically related. Or, this is a very nice, very professional answer. It is a cyclic relationship. What does cyclic mean? It means like that. Okay? Presenting the same thing. A cyclic relationship. In other words, the writer starts his text with talking about obesity and its effect on teenagers and ends it with the effect on teenagers. Cyclic relationship. Ends it with the same concept. Now, sample questions related to this type of writing. I would say, to what type of writing does this essay belong? Or what type of writing is the selection you just read? Explain. The above text is a cause-effect essay, a type of expository writing where the author gives the reader ample information and evidence on global warming and its damaging effects. Or the selection at hand is argumentative in nature. Tell me why you think it's argumentative. It tackles two sides of the coin, for and against the use of online learning as part of the educational process, with a special focus on the refutation of the opposing side to this concept. Okay? Now we come to the writing part. I gave you a general overview of the different types of writing and how I might ask you that on a comprehension test. Now we go to the writing types we took so far. We went through this, of course. We only took expository writing, two types of expository writing. I'm going to go through that. But before that, when we write in grade 11, we write essays. What's an essay? An essay is a group of interconnected paragraphs, well-organized paragraphs, all linked or discussing one central idea. They are related to one main idea, which is your thesis statement. Parts of an essay, the introduction, obviously. The introduction needs three important elements. I can't stress that enough. If you don't write a hook in your introduction, you're missing something. If you don't have general background information to put to give you a certain backup for your essay, you're missing something. And of course, the thesis statement, which I will give a load of grades on that, needs to be written. All those three elements. So take a look at those. Those are at least 3 sentences. If you are missing any part of those, obviously, if you write less than 3 sentences, your introduction is incomplete. It's not efficient. Okay, so you go back to that introduction, see what you missed. Did I miss the hook or the background information? Have I forgotten to write a thesis statement? And remember, the hook could be 1 or 2 sentences, background information 1 or 2 sentences, but the thesis statement is 1 complete sentence, and it's called a statement. It's not a question. 1 complete sentence that ends with a full stop. The thesis can never be a question mark, okay? The thesis would be something like this. Early marriage, which is widely practiced in remote and rural areas of developing countries, seems to have, of course, several negative physical and psychological effects. Obviously, in my text, in my essay, I'm going to discuss the physical effects and the psychological effects of early marriage on girls in developing countries. Now, the body part of my paragraph. Each body paragraph will discuss one idea that you wrote in your thesis. This is how they're linked. And provide evidence for it. But each body paragraph needs a topic sentence, supporting details, major supporting details and minor supporting details, examples. My topic sentence for the prompt I just gave you now, example, it has been proven that early marriage has several physical impacts. In this paragraph, I'm going to talk about physical impacts and then give examples about it, supporting details, okay, and a concluding sentence to wrap up that paragraph. And in the second body paragraph, of course, I'm going to talk about, maybe second and third, I'm going to talk about the emotional or mental effects, okay, of that. Of course, in each body paragraph, I need a topic sentence, please. The conclusion does 2 of 3 things, and I would like you to include all 3 of those things, especially restating your thesis using different words. You summarize the text and you leave the reader with a final thought. Advice, a call for action, a final question. Okay, a good conclusion should be powerful in order to make an impact on the reader. This is what I'm finally looking at before I give you your grade. So be careful with that. Always end on a powerful note. Now, the expository essay, the purpose, now we're going to go to the 2 types I gave you. The purpose, again, is to inform, to explain a certain idea or concept. The types we're going to take: problem, solution, cause, effect, which we took this semester, and then later advantages, disadvantages, and then the case study later on. Okay? The expository writing model, which I gave you, was a problem solution one. Related to global warming, I asked you to give me one global issue related to the environment and give me that problem, present its different aspects, and provide practical solutions. Again, practical, nothing from outer space, nothing. You need something that's plausible, that could be done. Okay? Okay, remember this writing sample. It is in your ebook, it is in the PowerPoints, so go through it thoroughly. Look at the parts I highlighted. I started with the hook. You wake up every day to breaking news about a glacier that has melted and will never come back, wild forest fires everywhere, and record heat across the globe. You know, every day you open the news, there will be something related to the environment. And then background information, and finally in red, this is your thesis statement. A huge part of those issues is related to the phenomenon of global warming, which has started to perplex or confuse scientists and alarm governments, some of which have started to seriously look for sources of this problem and come up with solutions to limit it. Okay, obviously the thesis, causes of that problem and how we can provide solutions. This is my first topic sentence where I will discuss the first cause and how it's affecting the world. The second cause, deforestation, it ends here, deforestation. And the third cause, clearing large amounts of land to build farms. Okay, so, notice in the body paragraphs, when you read it on your own, when you read it carefully, notice that I put statistics, I put important information. Now, when you are in a test, and this is a very important question, you don't have Google at hand, so you say you remain on the safe side. Unless you are 100% sure of a fact, do not include it. Okay, if you've memorized a fact, put it. If you don't, just say a large amount or a huge number of. Don't put numbers if they are not accurate. And then here, I wrote the solutions at the end. So how can this global phenomenon be reversed? I provided plausible solutions. Well, for one, governments need to start acting fast. Laws should be passed and seriously implemented to ban rampant deforestation. Cars should be obliged to limit their greenhouse emissions, along with factories and major industries. And then I leave the reader with a final thought here. and a call for action. After all, Earth is our only home. If things continue as they are, it won't be long before the last glaciers melt. Of course, a glacier, for those of you who don't know, is a mountain of ice, those found in the Arctic and in the North and South Poles. Earth's temperatures become unbearable and we will perish. Okay, leave on that powerful note. Now, the second model I gave you, the second writing model, is a cause-effect one. Still, okay, so this is okay, so this is the cause-effect writing model, which I gave you guys. 3 common causes of teen anxiety. Again, a hook, background information. Read it, please. Go to that PowerPoint and read it. And I wrote my thesis. However, in today's modern world, adolescents might be suffering from anxiety due to several factors such as brain development, high expectations, and peer pressure. There are many others, of course. Social media is one of them. But I gave you a sample. You can write your own ideas. The reason I give you writing samples is so that you can enrich your ideas to write better essays. So the first cause, the brain isn't fully developed. Here they're obviously divided 1, 2, and 3. 1 in the first body paragraph, 2 in the second, and 3 in the third body paragraph. To begin, teenagers do not have fully developed brains yet at this age. Topic sentence. Here I elaborate, I add more ideas. Another main factor behind teen anxiety is high expectation. Of course, high expectation from parents. They want to go to prestigious universities. They want to score as high as their cousins and friends and do everything perfectly. So many things are expected of them. They're expected to behave as adults. They want to sleep more, but they're not allowed to. They feel stressed out, etc. Okay. Now, a third major reason causing adolescent anxiety is peer pressure. You explained that. Kids today experience high amounts of pressure from their peers. Peer pressure can often be quite negative. You're pressured to lie to your parents about going to a certain party or breaking a school rule to appear cool. Moreover, adolescents might be experiences different types of bullying. Bullying is a type of peer pressure. Your bully is most probably a peer of yours, someone in your class or in your age group, which could be, bullying could be verbal, physical, and of course the trend cyberbullying among teenagers. This leads to a feeling of social anxiety where teenagers would feel withdrawn and isolated. Finally, the conclusion, again, restate your thesis, summarize your essay, and leave with a final thought or a call for action. The ideas illustrated above that depict the amount of pressure that teens in the modern world are going through. These youngsters need both help and guidance. It is the duty of parents, guardians, and even school administrations to make sure that teens are getting the necessary help to pass. Notice a call for action to pass this turbulent transitional stage from childhood to adulthood. This will definitely minimize teen anxiety. So this is it for this lecture. Everything that you need to know for the test is included here, yet you still have to go through older PowerPoints, okay? Where I explained those concepts in great detail. We're going to discuss them in, of course, in class. We're going to answer a sample test together in order to make this exam easier. Okay, so until then, take care and I'll see you. Bye.